Hey y'all, welcome to Pleiadian Point of View. I'm Peyton with Peyton Energetics, and in today's video, the Pleiadians wanted to chat with us about how we can become more multidimensional, especially in how we think. So what the Pleiadians wanted to share with us today is to start to introduce us to how we will be thinking as fifth dimensional beings. So they like to start out by kind of describing how they see humans as thinking. And so when they describe their observation of the way we think, the way we approach our daily life, they said that in 3D, humans tend to be very black or white. We tend to think that there is one version of events. There is one truth, and everything else must be false. And this is something that they describe as lower dimensional thinking. So today they wanted to talk to us a little bit about how they approach this in the higher dimensions and what we are moving toward as an ascending collective. So according to the Pleiadians, as we move into more advanced stages of consciousness, our entire approach to thinking is going to change. So what they mean by that is that in advanced civilizations, freedom of thought and idea is highly encouraged, whereas here on Earth, it is pretty aggressively discouraged, right? We are told what the party line is by our information platforms. We are told what the truth is, and everyone is expected to conform. And if you don't, you are ridiculed, you are judged. And the guides say that that is a very lower dimensional perspective. And as we move into the higher realms, the way we approach this is going to fundamentally shift. So according to the Pleiadians, they like to describe how this works in their society. In Pleiadian society, absolute freedom of thought is encouraged. It is celebrated. And the way they describe it is that all information is freely available to everyone. There's no secrecy. There is no hoarding of information, of knowledge. Everything is freely available to everyone because the purpose is to encourage everyone to think for themselves, to take in all of the information out there and work from that to decide what is your truth. Because if you have listened to the Pleiadians in many of these videos, you know that one of their mantras is that there is no truth. There is only perception. So as we move into being fifth dimensional beings, as we start to join the more advanced races, we're going to start to move toward an openness of thought. So the way that the Pleiadians encourage us to start moving in that direction is they describe how they approach things. So according to the guides, they say that they take in every source of information on a topic and create their own truth. So rather than buying at face value one person's perspective or one version of events, they try to listen to every angle. They want to hear everyone's perspective possible and then choose their truth. So the way they describe it is they like to pick the best parts of every perspective. And then they throw in how they want it to be. They throw in their desires, their perspective, their unique take on it, and come up with their own belief system. And by doing that, they are creating and fostering creativity of thought in their population, in their collective. So in the advanced races, this is how they encourage creativity, expansion, new ideas. is by encouraging everyone to take in all the information that's available and come up with their own unique perspective. So in the advanced races, differences of opinion are celebrated because that's how a collective grows. That's how inventions come about. That's how breakthroughs in knowledge and learning come about, is when everyone is encouraged to think freely, to be creative, and to define truth for themselves. So when you compare that with how we go about things in our Earth construct, this kind of thinking is aggressively discouraged. We are encouraged to be robots buying the same version of events, which, as we are finding as an awakened community, is heavily manipulated. So the guides are encouraging us to start thinking like multidimensional beings, like fifth dimensional beings. And the way that we do that is by recognizing that every perspective is valid, even if you don't personally choose it. But sometimes by listening to versions of events, even just taking in every perspective on a situation, you can decide what is your truth. And as we become more advanced as a civilization, we are going to start to realize that differences of opinion help the whole. And so by taking in as many diverse perspectives on a given situation as we can pick the parts that work for us. Because in 3D, we are very often made to fear perspectives that differ from our own. Anything that bucks the trend, goes against the tide, is rejected. And as the guides point out, this is a very low-dimensional perspective. You continue to constrict and contract your entire collective when you think this way. So as we become more advanced, what the Pleiadians encourage us to start to practice is how can we start to release judgment against people and perspectives that don't agree with ours. So how can we be more tolerant of other viewpoints? You don't have to adopt it or make it right, but we don't want to be in judgment of it because that just keeps us in a state of resistance. So as we start to join the more advanced races, as we start to evolve as a human collective, one of the ways we're going to do this is in how we think, how we come up with what we consider to be the truth. Because another one of the traps of 3D thinking is that we buy what we are fed by others and we take it at face value. A broadcast tells us that something is the truth, something is reality, and we buy into it. And that is a very dangerous place to be right now. So the guides are encouraging us as the awakened community to start to think from a more evolved perspective, to take in all the viewpoints, listening to them with your intuition, and decide what do you choose to believe here. Because remember, your truth is your choice. And just because someone else has a different truth doesn't mean it is universally what we would consider to be true. Truth is individual to the person. So as we become more multidimensional, we are going to start to create our own version of truth. So that is what the Pleiadians wanted to share with us in this week's point of view. Hope it helps you. I'll see you soon. Bye.